4. Lost contact to the colony. Ripley has a small, impersonal apartment in Earth Satellite Station Beta. The apartment is messy. Ripley is bored. There's a knock at the door. Behind the door is Dr. O'Neill and Lieutenant Gorman of the Colonial Guard. Ripley lets them in. Ripley is told that the ECA has lost contact with the colony, and Gorman has been ordered to lead a military team in to investigate. Gorman asks if Ripley agrees to go along as a consultant in case the problem is related to her alien. Ripley's vindication is not sweet. She says what anybody who went through what she did on the Nostromo would do. Ripley refuses. Gorman pleads his case. He explains that with the new, faster ships, they can be there in 8 weeks, and they'll pick up a combat team from the Colonial Garrison at Gateway Station. A seasoned group used to fighting in harsh environments. This highly armed task force will carry state-of-the-art weaponry, enough firepower to incinerate a planet. And she doesn't have to leave the ship, merely be on hand with any information she supplies from her close experience with the creature. O'Neill offers to take care of Jones. She again refuses and asks them to leave. Before they leave, Gorman gives Ripley his contact number. Ripley awakens from another nightmare. The alien still stalks the corridors of her subconscious. It killed her friends and everything she was or owned. The demon has to be exorcised. She calls Gorman, wakes him up, and agrees to go. Once again, the 1983 version of the scene largely follows its counterpart in the final film, but several differences are noticeable. First, the Colonial Marines are referred to as the Colonial Guard. Second, since the character of Burke does not exist in the 1983 version, it is Gorman whom Ripley contacts to agree to join the mission. Additionally, spacecraft are described as traveling significantly faster in the movie than in the 1983 version. In Aliens, the Sulaco is said to make the journey in 3 weeks, implying a speed of 677 times the speed of light. In the 1983 version, the journey is stated to take 8 weeks, which would be around 250 times the speed of light. For reference, in the original Alien film, the flight time was approximately 11 months, meaning the Nostromo traveled at about 46 times the speed of light. 5. The crew. In deep space travels the mothership Sulaco, a military transport ship. Inside the ship, a row of hypersleep capsules open their lids. Figures emerge, 10 men and 4 women. Only one of the 14 are the ship's crew. Executive Officer Bishop, ECA assignee. Master Sergeant Pone, the unit leader, gives the tough soldiers orders. The unit hates the way Pone is so alert right away. They hate the whip-crack comments that flow easily as crap table dealers patter. At the same time, they love him. They'd follow him into hell. The following persons have been appointed to the position of Acheron: ICC personnel, Gorman, Project Officer; Ripley, Project Advisor; Transport Personnel, Bishop, Executive Officer; the Military Unit, Master Sergeant Apone, Unit Leader; Lance Corporal Hicks, B Team Leader; Corporal Lydecker, MedTech; Corporal Hudson, Comtech; Private First Class Dietrich; Private First Class Frost; Private First Class Wierzbowski; Private First Class Drake, Smart Gun Operator; Corporal Vasquez, Smart Gun Operator; Sergeant Farrow, Dropship Pilot; Private First Class Hay, Dropship Crewman. In the 1983 version, some of the soldiers have different names and ranks compared to the final film. Hudson and Vasquez are both corporals, while Hicks holds the lower rank of Lance Corporal, placing him beneath them in the chain of command. Farrow is ranked as a sergeant. Spunkmeyer is referred to as Hay, and the unit's female medic is a corporal named Lydecker. In the film and later script versions, a character named Lydecker appears as the assistant operations manager at Hadley's Hope. The character Crow does not appear at all in the 1983 version. 6. Briefing. The crew gathers after showering and dressing in the mess hall. They are tired from cryo-sleeping. Ripley wears a jumpsuit and her lucky high tops salvaged from the Narcissus shuttle. He follows the conversation and actions of others. The soldiers are experienced. They have worked together in various missions for years. Discipline is noticeably lax. Upon taking roll, is catcalled and teased, including imitations of his standard opening, "All right." This mood will change like lightning in combat. They're tough, jaded, and they know their shit, with a confidence bordering on arrogance. The women of the military unit, Vasquez, Dietrich, Ledecker, and Farrow, are as touch as the men and hold their own in the banter. Ripley is treated with diffidence as an outsider. Vasquez, what's your name again? Ripley answer, Ripley. Vasquez, yeah. Vasquez turns away. The slight is intentional. His arrogance and meanness continue. Vasquez, what are you supposed to be here for? Ripley begins to answer but gets cut off. Vasquez says the only thing she needs to know about the alien is where it is so she can blow it away. Ripley hopes she's right. Hudson launches into a monologue about the hardware they're packing. He lists features of ordnance like options on a luxury car. Dropship ordnance like tactical nuclear smart missiles, 100 megawatt X-ray laser cannon, independently targeting particle beam phalanx, and the portable stuff. Cybernetic combat armor, gyro-stabilized phased plasma rifles, grenade launchers, rocket launchers, knives, and sharp sticks. Lieutenant Gorman enters, looking clean-shaven and trim in his crisp uniform. Sergeant Apone, Tench Hut? Gorman starts out a general briefing on the mission by making a fool of himself. He comes off as a neophyte, masking a lack of field experience with strict adherence to procedure. Drake, the gunner, rolls his eyes, looks over at Vasquez. Vasquez, frag bait. Gorman, oblivious to the impression he's making, continues his ramble. He presents Ripley's warning and the loss of contact with the colony, the abrupt absence of the subspace check-in transmissions. It all sounds a bit thin in the recon department. Apone points out that the colony could simply be having transmitter problems. Gorman continues to outline the time frame, dropship loading and pre-flight rundown, field stripping and checking all weapons, review of target, 10 hours, then sleep. First assembly at 500, dropship launch at 7:30. Meeting dismissed. In the corridor of Sulaco, Ripley catches up with Bishop. Ripley, on the roster you're designated as ECA cyborg assignee. You're a synthetic human, an android. Bishop, that's correct. Is there a problem? Ripley, why did they send you? Bishop explains that all corporate operations ships now utilize cyborg captains as standard procedure because of their unique fail-safe qualities. She looks at him, then turns away. The scene is divided across several different parts and locations in the film. For example, Hudson's knives and sharp sticks monologue appears in the 1983 version before the team is briefed about the mission. In the special edition of the film, this moment occurs while the crew is descending to the planetoid aboard the dropship. Likewise, Vasquez's arrogant remark to Ripley about killing aliens appears later in the film during the mission briefing. In the 1983 version, Ripley confronts Bishop about being a synthetic after reading the crew roster, unlike in the film where she finds out more casually during breakfast. 7. Descent to Acheron. In Sulaco's loading area, Gorman is pointlessly supervising loading. Ripley approaches Gorman and demands that Bishop be replaced by a human being. Ash, the company android on the Nostromo, was complicit in her shipmates' deaths and tried to murder her. Gorman, corporate policy is corporate policy. They've been used for years and they haven't failed yet. In the ready room, Vasquez and Drake handle weapons. Vasquez notices Ripley watching her from the door. She points her finger, cocks her thumb, and blows away an imaginary alien. Ripley doesn't think it's funny. The Sulaco stabilizes its orbit to Acheron. Hicks is using a huge exoskeleton power loader to move heavy equipment into the dropship. He is having problems by using power loader. Ripley feels like a fifth wheel, and she wants to help. Ripley had lots of hours in them before her officer days. She offers to take over. Hicks looks skeptical. The massive machine moves smoothly under her control. The team is ready to drop. Apone prowls the aisle, checking off gear. In the cockpit, Pharaoh starts the release sequence. Bishop monitors all movements from the Sulaco's bridge, reports that there is no radio response from the colony. Drop ship screams down through the stratosphere and plunges into the dark turbulence. In the cockpit, Pharaoh flies tensely as the ship is buffeted. Hay calls out altitude and course information. Hudson is calmly talking about his favorite foods to see if he can get Gorman to throw up. The ship lurches, almost waking up Hicks, who's not an early riser. For the combat veterans, this could just as well be a bus ride. Dropship emerges from a low-cloud ceiling. Hay, stay wide of the atmosphere plant. Convection turbulence. Sergeant Apone, hold at 60. Apone calls to Pharaoh from the cockpit doorway. Apone, slow circle of the complex. Apone turns to the troops. Apone, all right, the A-team, gear up. Let's move. 2 minutes. Somebody wake up Hicks. A clatter of activity as they don their backpacks over their body armor, respirators, helmets with video cameras, equipment belts, and motion trackers. Vasquez and Drake buckle on gun harnesses which support the massive smart guns, computer-aimed automatic energy weapons. At Ripley's suggestion, they carry a few flamethrowers as well. Hicks asks Ripley if she's going out with them. Ripley disagrees. She's staying with Gorman, who's supervising by remote video from the troop ship. Those figures, Drake mutters to Vasquez. The buildings are visible from the cockpit of the dropship berth. They seem okay from above, but there is zero activity. Very ominous. Gorman says to Pharaoh, set down by the control block. The immediate dust-off is Sergeant Apone's clear signal. Apone says to the group, all right, look sharp. I want a clean dispersal this time. 10 seconds. Dropship lands on Acheron. The ship's door opens and the troops hit the ground running. The dropship leaps up in a cloud of spray and peels off. Apone gives orders and A and B teams separate and disperse, finding separate cover. Once again, several scenes in the 1983 version differ significantly from the final film. Aboard the Sulaco, it is Hicks who initially operates the power loader to load ordnance. When he runs into trouble using the machine, Ripley steps in and takes over, rather than driving a separate loader as seen in the film. Unlike the movie, Bishop does not accompany the team to the planetoid. Instead, he remains aboard the Sulaco's bridge. Ripley also stays on the dropship with Gorman, refusing to go down to the surface. One major difference between the 1983 version and the final film is that the soldiers do not deploy inside an APC. Instead, once the dropship lands, they disembark on foot and run directly toward the colony. 8. Nuke the whole place. Outside the colony complex, the A and B teams are waiting, scanning the bleak buildings. A neon sign creaks in the wind, no other movement. Sergeant Apone. B team, hold positions. A team, assemble as me at the main lock. They run to the control block's main entrance. Apone tries the entry switches and emergency overrides, but the steel doors remain closed. Hudson prees off the panel and hotwires it. The doors rumble open. They enter cautiously. Vasquez and her smart gun are on point. Inside Colony Complex, the corridor and rooms are deserted. Only the emergency lights are on, puddles of water cover the floor. The empty corridor recedes into the dim distance. They move forward systematically. Apone brings the second team forward to pace them as a rear guard. As they move through the complex, they find disturbing signs of struggle. Holes in the wall from what appears to be acid splashes and automatic weapons, burned out rooms, shattered furniture, and doors. Rain soaks Spartan offices and quarters. There are no bodies, although here and there a spray of dried blood is found. They find a corridor blocked by a barricade of hastily welded steel plate. Inside the dropship, Ripley watches via helmet cameras in the monitor bay. Her fears are confirmed. The alien had an incredibly strong acid for blood. Inside Colony Complex, the two teams move forward, searching the maze. One wing is completely without power. They switch to helmet lights. Inside the dropship, Ripley sees the melted evidence of many alien casualties increasing. Her fear builds. She tells Gorman to get his teams out of there. Gorman says there may still be survivors. Ripley is sure there aren't. She recommends they clear off and nuke the whole place. The troops entering the building closely resemble the scene in the 1983 version. However, in that earlier version, Ripley observes the troops advance from a dropship flying overhead, rather than from an APC. Ripley is also resolute about the situation and proposes destroying the planet, a line of hers that appears later in the film.
Take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Fucking A.
Oh, hold on 1 second. This installation has a substantial dollar value attached to it.
They can bill me.
Okay, look. This is an emotional moment for all of us, okay?